Steve Walters there as well. There is the lineup for the Raiders. Nagus, Finau, Meninga and Boyle. Mullins on the wing. Daly and Stone. Osborne, Walters, Lomax, Ferner, Pongia and Croker make up the 13, the starting 13 for the Raiders. Tim Sheen sporting a very, very healthy looking beard. What do you think of that, Fatty?
Yes, it could be anything in there. But Timmy, I think he's about his 5th or 6th year of the coach of the Raiders, and looking for another big year. Big Mal looks pretty fit, sweating profusely as usual.
He's sweating a lot, isn't he, Paul?
That's right.
Would sweat in a swimming pool, Mal.
And the Gold Coast. And an unfamiliar sight there. Craig Coleman in a Gold Coast shirt. After all those years with South Sydney, he's back with the Gold Coast. Wonder if he can spark them. Certainly the Gold Coast, a lot of question marks about them. There is their lineup today. Bouzian, Bouveng, Vowles, Cook, Patterson, Scarden. Coleman is the captain. Tocco, Herring, Campion, Goddard, Bartram and Gill. And the coach is John Harvey. Tugger Coleman.
Yes, many people thought that his career in Sydney was over. Went to England. Might just have a new lease of life up there, and probably the kind of player that the Gold Coast are looking for. Will give them a lot of direction with his experience. It will help there. You can see the referee is Michael Lewis.
Wide for sound, Pete.
Yes, indeed. And I know Steve Roach will bring us up to date as to just exactly what is happening with that once we get underway. But I can tell you it is a good move.
Okay, he checks time on, and we're just about set for a start. The Gold Coast and the Canberra Raiders. Time on, and we're underway. 4 20-minute quarters. Laurie Daly gets first touch of the football. And Canberra bring it out just past their quarter. Here's Pongia, almost to the 30-metre mark. Osborne, bulking run, brings it up close to the 40-metre mark. There's Daly. A short pass, didn't fool anyone. Walters is dummy half. And the Raiders are just 5 metres short of the halfway mark on the last tackle. It's with Daly. Turns Bouzian around. Russell Bouzian back right on his own goal line before he's able to pick the football up, and brought down nicely in a good chase by Jason Croker.
Very disciplined start from Canberra. Just the forwards taking it out. They had one shot at a backline attempt as Big Mal comes up with some heavy defence only 5 metres out. And a good kick from Daly. Good chasing side. Now the Gold Coast forced to bring it out. That'll be a high tackle. There's a little bit of animosity still in the tackle there. It was the number 12. I think you'll find Quentin Pongia.
I don't know if the arm was swinging though, Sterlo. Well, it was a bit in the end, but I don't think there's too much damage done. But so obviously the referees continuing their crackdown on the high tackles. They're not on, boys, and they'll have to become right down this year, getting down further and further as the years go on.
So the penalty to the Gold Coast. Block, you might like to explain the headset on the referee.
Yeah, some interesting innovations from the Australian Rugby League. The touch judges have a microphone in their flag where they relay messages to the referee. For instance, a forward pass or a knock-on, but ultimately it is the referee's decision. I will just mention too that it's Michael Lewis's, the referee's, first game in first grade.
Good on you, Block. So if you see the touch judges talking into their flag, you'll know what it's all about. Now, the Gold Coast just about on the halfway mark. There's Coleman. Kick rolling towards the touchline. He won't get there, however. Nagus will pick it up. Nagus caught just inside his own quarter. Nagus, I thought, played pretty well in the sevens for the Raiders on the weekend.
Well, he'll be looking to impress early in the season. There's a mistake made by Canberra here. That's John Scarden picking up the football, only 15 metres out. A good attacking opportunity here early in the game for the Gold Coast. First mistake from the Raiders.
Tackle count restarted too. 10 metres out. The Gold Coast raiding away. Here's Coleman. Inside pass for Campion. Campion held just about 9 metres out from the Canberra line. Peter Gill trying to get around the defence of Al Meninga. The big fella wasn't fooled. Here's Coleman again. Out for Scarden. Inside, it looked like Goddard. At midfield. Away goes Terry Cook. Cook going very close to the line. Pulled down only a metre short. Last tackle now for the Gold Coast. Great opportunity for them. The pass out wide, and the defence is equal to the occasion. Only a metre short.
Yeah, well done, Gold Coast. They nearly caught Canberra napping down this blind side. Cook made a great run. In the end, the long pass was a cutout pass, but the Canberra defence in Mullins read it well. 1-on-1. Pressure tackle by Mullins.
Now Osborne brings it out for the Raiders. About 18 metres out from his own line, and the penalty will go to Canberra.
Just looking at the two relatives, Pax Sturlo, looks to me like they're a couple of small blokes in the Gold Coast side, and the Canberra pack are fairly large, all of them. They should have a weight advantage here, and it might tell later in the game.
Well, I guess it depends on how they handle the conditions too, Paul. You talk about big men out there. They are probably going to be affected by the heat more than anything else. Maybe the speedier, smaller men in the Gold Coast pack might just handle these, like it's very, very warm out there. They might just be a little bit better off late in the game.
Now David Furner brings it up for the Raiders, right on the halfway mark. Pongia inside the Gold Coast territory. Here's Daly. A little kick ahead there for David Boyle. Picked up by Boyle. He's got support out there from Finau, but over the touchline he goes.
Excellent defence there from the Gold Coast, but a beautifully worked, planned move here from Canberra. You see Laurie Daly, the little kick. David Boyle knew it was on, was well and truly onside, got the bounce, passed very early to his winger. Buzian did particularly well and had some support there, so some great cover coming across for the coast. Steve Roach.
Interesting to see how Ken Nagus goes, the new fullback for the Canberra side, obviously taking over from Gary Belcher. I'm sure the position isn't filled yet. I'm sure Mullins would have something to say about that later on in the game.
Well, there's also a report, Steve, that Peter Benson, who is back with Canberra, or he's been at the Gold Coast previously, I think had a year off to do accountancy or something. He's put his hand up for the fullback spot as well, so we'll see a couple of people trialling there.
David Bouvang just outside the Gold Coast quarter. Vowles sends it down for Nagus. Halfway. And Mullins moves into dummy half. Here's Daly. Boyle running onto the pass. Still on the halfway mark, the Raiders. Daly again. Picking up with Nagus. Stone. Good solid defence from the Gold Coast. Herring in there.
The defence has been good. It's been solid, but it's also wrapped the football up as well. You see here they come up on Paul Osborne. That's a great tackle, one-on-one by Peter Gill. But they're stopping the Raiders getting the ball away in tackles, and that's always a good thing to do against a team that throws it around as well as they do.
Laurie Daly on the sixth tackle. He now chasing the football. It's back for Buzian in the Gold Coast, about 8 metres or so from their own line. Another hard work in this very humid conditions. In midfield. That's a solid hit, 3 of them. And the score, 7 minutes gone. First quarter. This Tooheys challenge.
The two players to watch for in the Gold Coast side are Craig Coleman, the halfback. He's wily. He knows that wherever he is, the ball will more than likely go. But the other option they've got is Peter Gill. He's a good, hard-running lock forward. He's also got some ball skills, and the former St George player. So he's the one to watch as well.
Buzian kicking under pressure. Down for Mullins. Mullins about 35 out from the Gold Coast line. Stone turning it back inside for Furner.
Both teams looking for a lot of players to come back inside. When you get fatigue in defence, that's generally where you'll catch them out. Somebody will get a little bit lazy and not come across. An inside pass might just find that out. As Laurie Daly's been very involved, gets Meninga on to Nagus. Great pass. But again, good cover defence coming across. That was Jamie Goddard.
It's very strong defence from the Gold Coast. some quick hands in that movement, but the defence was equal to the occasion. Now Walters gets it up to about 10 metres from the Gold Coast line. They've used up 5. Here's Stone. The switch of play for Daly. Daly's got Meninga with him. Meninga trying to kick it. Didn't come off too well, and it's bouncing around for anyone. And finally, it's Mullins who dies on the football. And the penalty will go to Canberra.
Well, that's a scrappy bit of play there from the Gold Coast. They put a good tackle on Meninga, tried to kick the ball, and then the man who picked the football up just spilled it straight away. Meninga knows it's the last, kicks it into the Gold Coast player. It's picked up there. It was a good tackle from Mullins, but poor ball security there from David Duvang.
So the penalty given to the Canberra Raiders.
This is a new rule for this season as well. The scrums and the penalty tap kicks will now come 20 metres in. It was actually proposed by Tim Sheens, the Canberra coach. And Steve Wallace keeps the ball alive. Stone knocks the ball back. That should open things up from restarts of play.
Here goes David Furner. Got through one. He's got support too from Croker. Croker gets to within about a metre of the Gold Coast line. Great opportunity for the Raiders. Out it comes for Stone. Stone onto Meninga. Puts the shoulder into the defence.
Well, they had to be Vowles. He's a real goer, this Vowles, and he saw Meninga coming and crunched him.
Here comes Lomax.
Oh, a high shot there. I think it's by Tocco, and it's not on. He's been called out by the referee, Lewis. And silly play, you know, because the defence has been great. It's been aggressive, it's been effective.
It was very clumsy, wasn't it? Like, he just was never going to do any damage except give a penalty away.
Typical coat hanger, but back on that tackle by Vowles. I mean, Meninga's a hard man to stop, especially close to the line. And he put his body in the line there, Vowles, and it was a great tackle.
That's really the way to handle Mal Meninga too. Have a look at the size of the man. You want to get to him before he starts getting any momentum up. So if you can rush up and come up with a good tackle on him and wrap him up, a little bit easier than giving him 10 or 15 yards to come at you.
Now the restart. Away goes Osborne. Osborne gets to within about 3 metres of the line. Pressure for the Gold Coast now. Stone for Lomax. The run around with Stone. Inside goes Furner. But again, the defence is equal to the occasion. 10 metres out now, the Raiders. Waller's at dummy half. Across for Stone. Here's Daly. Quick hands onto Croker. Croker's put it down.
You can only say that again was good defence from the Gold Coast. They forced the mistake. A quick pass from Laurie Daly onto Croker, bounced off his chest. Good pressure there. They've started well, Steve, the Gold Coast defensively. That's what they had to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what they had to do. Two players I was impressed with last season, Quinton Pongia and John Lomax, will have to go well for the Canberra Raiders this season for them to do any good. And let's not forget it was only their first season in the Winfield Cup last year.
Gold Coast just about on their own quarter now, after withstanding a fair bit of pressure from the Raiders. And the Raiders weren't able to score. They are now still 25 out. Coleman trying to control play. A mistake coming up from the Gold Coast, and quickly the Raiders turn defence into attack. It's Croker who will play it, about 25 out from the Gold Coast line. Waller's dummy half. Here's Osborne. And the big man puts his shoulder into the defence. They hold him though, but he's inside the quarter now. It's out for Daly. Furner got support from Croker. Croker's given it back to Meninga. The bounce is picked up by Nagus. Nagus looks for the line and scores the first try of the game.
Yeah, well done, Canberra. The pressure telling on the Gold Coast. Mistake made 30 metres out from their own line, and Canberra have made them pay. And some good ball handling in this movement here by the Raiders. Some nice work by Furner first of all. He gets caught in the tackle, offloads a nice pass to Croker. The over-the-head job. I thought Mel might have gone on and scored, but unselfishly flicked one out, and Nagus did well to pick that up on the run. Good skills by him.
Well, this is a great pass here, and unfortunately Campion came in, the number 10. I thought Mal should have scored here himself. Look where he ends up after he throws the pass. Well, we don't see it on that angle, but Nagus with good hands and a couple of little steps picks the ball up and scores. That's a good start from Nagus. Nice play from Canberra, getting the forwards involved, keeping the ball alive, linking with their backs. That's what they're very good at. All the players in the Canberra side have ability to use the football, and they take advantage of that.
Well, the Gold Coast absorbed a lot of pressure, Pete, didn't they? For about 12 or 13 minutes they've been, well, not on their line, but they've certainly been doing most of the defending.
And again, they have to blame themselves there, and they came up with a simple mistake, just dropped the ball in the tackle, and straight away Canberra looked to attack. Difficult conversion.
David Furner pushes it across the face of the goal mouth. Can't add the extras. But Canberra, in the 13th minute, 4-0 over the Gold Coast. Now, the Gold Coast, let's see if they can come back after. You see it quite often, don't you, with sides that aren't regarded as being strong. They tackle their hearts out for 15 minutes or so, and then a try scores, and quite often all of the good work can be undone if they relax. Canberra will certainly try and test that theory out.
That's also why four-quarter football is such an evener up in a game where, you know, normally a side, if they can work away for 20 minutes, they start to get on top, bit of pressure. There's Steve Wallace getting away up the middle, and all of a sudden you've got a break and the team can come off and refresh and sort their defence out off the field, go back and try and get it together on the field.
Seeing Walters and his front row partners going straight up the middle is a bit of a concern. Here's Nagus picking up that loose ball. Will take the tackle just on the halfway mark. Daly sending Boozian back to his own line. Comes to the defence just about on the quarter line for Russell Boozian. This is Tim Patterson. Steve Roach sideline.
Yes, David Ferner, after his great involvement in the first Canberra's try, has been replaced by David Lomax. He's the brother of John Lomax. Expect some strong running from him. He's just over from New Zealand.
Now, you hear the groans as the defence comes to the ball carrier. Tocco playing it back for Coleman. Sends Nagus across, but just one bounce for Nagus. Oh, he's made a meal of this. Up to the 30-metre mark. Defence gets to him. Here's Stone.
He's gone pretty well too, Steve Stone. He's normally a back rower. Had 1 or 2 games as halfback for the Raiders last year and went okay. He's shoveling the ball when he's got to, and he's having a run when he's got to as well, and he's giving good service to Daly and Meninga out wide.
There's obviously great faith in him in the Canberra camp. Those games that you're talking about, Paul, were at semi-final time after Ricky Stewart's injury, of course. And Steve Walters straight up the middle. Great play from Steve Walters. Can't link up with support until he finds Steve Stone, the man we were talking about, and they've got numbers out wide.
Here's Mullins running onto the Meninga pass. Mullins turning a pass back inside to no one in particular, but they've been able to pick up the dregs, Canberra. Lomax got it across to brother Lomax. Last tackle coming up for the Raiders. Stone out for Daly, and that will be a turnover.
Yeah, good defence by the Case, but when Steve Walters went through, unfortunately for him, he didn't see Laurie Daly looming up on his left side. If he draws and passes, a try into the post for the Raiders.
He's probably the yardstick as to how well the defence is going for the opposition, Steve Walters. When he starts making busts up the middle, as a high tackle here will be penalised. You can see there the number 12, Quentin Ponga, appealing to the referee.
A swinging arm in this tackle. I think it missed, but still not on. There's the original hit, and then just the one over the top.
He ended up getting Steve Walters, I think.
He's going to note a thanks from Walters on that, as he got a cuff around the ear. So the Coast get the penalty. There's about 3 minutes left of this first quarter. Let's see if the Gold Coast can make good use of the football. This is Freestone. 30 metres out from the Canberra line. Coleman. A selection of runners. Here he is again. This time it's on for Campion. Campion just outside the Canberra quarter. And again, Coleman, first pass off the ruck. Scarden losing the ball again. And the tackle count restarts. Here's a great opportunity for the Gold Coast as Terry Cook will score. A ball that was touched, according to the referee, by a Canberra player. Tackle count restarted, and Terry Cook, the try scorer.
Well, Michael Lewis, in his first grade debut, has given a try here, but I have to look closely at this. I thought there was a knock-on in this particular play. I think it's from here. with Scarden. Here it is.
It's the most blatant knock
He makes
on.
a break. Now,
Well,
there's the ball's gone loose. He might have ruled that the Canberra player punched it out, but not for mine. He's just dead set knocked it on. But from there, the Coast have scored a try, and Terry Cook. So they've drawn level 4-all.
It's an interesting decision. This should show it up. Let's just have a look. Maybe we're being harsh. Well, he's ruled there that the man coming over the cross, over the top, knocked the ball out. It's a line ball decision. He is closer to us, to the play, than we are. And he did well there, Terry Cook, to step back inside and improve the position, but they took advantage of whatever luck was around and even the score's up.
Well, there was no doubt in the referee's mind, was there? I mean, he ruled that straight away. He didn't think too long about it.
No, he did wave play on at the time, so it might be the right decision made by Lewis.
Adrian Vowles, the conversion attempt. Can put the Coast in front. Not like that. So it's 4-all between the Canberra Raiders and the Gold Coast Seagulls. Almost the end of the first quarter, less than a minute remaining.
And this is one of the huge problems that the Gold Coast still have, is their goal kicking. Last year they used apparently 7, 8 or 9 kickers throughout the year. Wayne Bartram, I was told by John Harvey, was going to be the kicker tonight. He's not on the paddock, or he might be on the paddock. He didn't take that kick, and Vowles took it, and it was absolutely disgraceful. But Dale Shearer will probably be their kicker when he comes back. He's out with injury. He's got a sore back at the moment, and he'll be their big gun when he gets back, Rowdy Shearer.
Bouzian bringing it back for the Gold Coast. Not too many players before the first quarter siren sounds. Moving. 28 metres out. 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter, but it may be prolonged as the Coast get a penalty. And this penalty given, the siren will sound, but they must continue, and the ball is dead, obviously. And they will take the tap from just inside the Canberra half. Herring will take it. Tugger Coleman. Kick into open spaces. But Nagus is back there for the Raiders. Will take the tackle eventually. And that will be the end of the first quarter. So we go to the first break with the scores locked together at 4 apiece. Canberra and the Gold Coast back in just a moment. Plus, John Harvey, the Gold Coast coach, has done the same with the Seagulls. And Steve Roach has been down there in the huddle.
Yeah, John Harvey obviously happy with the defence of his boys. He wants them to keep scrambling and tighten up the centre of the ruck. He wants their markers to work a bit better because Steve Walters is very dangerous out of marker. He's saying it's quarter football, we're smaller, we should take advantage of that. And Craig Coleman had plenty to say. That's the advantage of having a good halfback. He wants the kicking game and try and hem Canberra right down in their own quarter.
Good on the block. Thanks for that. Now we're just about set for a start for the second quarter. One try each. Time on for the second quarter. And the Canberra side, who did most of the attacking in that first quarter, had first use of the football again.
I know it's a small thing, Ian, but I really think the players have to get themselves in the position to catch the football on the full from kick-off. I thought Canberra had an opportunity to do that. With the ball bouncing around for that extra 2 or 3 seconds, probably gives the chasing team of the Gold Coast an extra 10 yards. It just makes it a little bit harder to get out of your own danger area.
Here's Meninga. Carries it over the 30-metre mark. Steve Walters. Cross for Stone. And then on for John Lomax. They've used up 5, the Raiders. And a penalty's going to go their way.
If there was a Gold Coast hand in there from Brett Horsnell, it's a very dumb play. That was 5 tackles gone. It's a cardinal sin to give away penalties late in the tackle count. Here's the incident. Well, it was difficult to pick up, but again, Mick Lewis was in good position. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think Horsnell actually grabbed Lomax's shoulder and elbow and just pulled it out. So good decision made by Lewis, who's going pretty well at this stage.
Now here comes David Wesley, losing it behind him and picking it up once more. Lomax turns it inside for his brother David. Walters, Stone, Furner. Again, the Gold Coast defence moving up strongly. Walters from dummy half. Made some inroads late in the first quarter. Can't do it this time as Canberra turn over possession.
Yes, the pretty ordinary pass at the end of that nice run by Walters. 4 hit-ups by the Canberra forwards there. Not much imagination shown at that stage. And now a penalty goes to the Gold Coast. So the pressure is well and truly relieved for them.
Just a quick look at the statistics there after that first 20 minutes. Big job being done by Ray Herring, the hooker for the Gold Coast side. He leads with 14 tackles. Matter of fact, he just came up with a tackle there. He came away a little bit hurt, but he's leading the way in that department. David Furner had a very big first 20 minutes for Canberra. He was involved in the try and leads the tackle count on 11.
Horsnell brings the football up to the halfway mark. Here's Coleman. Found Gill. Herring from dummy half.
Yeah, great stuff there. Hooker knew that there was no markers. That's the time to go. Picked up 10 easy metres.
Freestone. There's a Canberra player down there hurt. He hasn't moved after making that tackle.
It's Steve Walters, number 9.
Brett Horsnell. Walters just starting to come around now. They've called for some attention for him.
It's hard to pick up just what happened there. I don't know what that means. You can see that he looks like he's been concussed. The big hit up there. Just got his head in the... came down, got his head in the wrong area. Bang. Takes it on the thigh and then straight into the ground. One of your tackles, Paul.
It's a great play, but that's a good lesson how not to tackle. Get your noggin right in the road of those bumblebees coming through, and he's copped them both, and down he's gone, so he'll need a rest. And he'll be on the sideline, I'd say, for 10-15 minutes before he's ready to go back out there. He's a tough rooster, though. Steve Walters, the incumbent Australian Test hooker.
And you saw Brian Hyder, the Canberra medical man, immediately saying, let's get him out of here for a while. First real hit out for the season. Now we're back with the Gold Coast in a perfect position, although it is the last tackle for them.
Well, Craig Coleman obviously didn't know that. He's appealing to the referee, but you've got to know those things. It was the last tackle. They put on a set play with Peter Gill coming late off the shoulder of Craig Coleman. And when the tackle was completed, it meant a handover.
Now Lomax saw the ball get raked loose again. Gee, this is happening a lot.
I don't know how white players continue to try and get away with it. 5 years ago you could, and the referee would signal knock on. But, you know, these days the refs have wisened up to all the tricks that players are capable of, and once that ball goes loose, you know a penalty is going to be given.
So Lomax now brings it up to just about on the 40-metre mark. Canberra and the Gold Coast, 4 points each. We're in the second quarter of this Tooheys challenge.
Yeah, Scott Freestone there. Unfortunately got a knee. It was an accidental one as David Wesley is penalised for Canberra. Not too happy about it, but it was an accidental knee. You see here, the number 25 going over the top. And there, just cops the knee and around the chin. Maybe a little bit of a kick out late, but Wesley was just trying to get some momentum to get up and go again.
The Gold Coast finding touch just about on the 40-metre mark. Penalties are all square at 5. Now the big men take it up into Canberra territory. It's Coleman running straight across field, linking up with John Scarton. And again, the movement falls down. Is Adrian Bowles, I think, put that down.
When Coleman runs across field, I'd like to see him run forward on about a 45-degree angle. He can still pick his players up, but as he drifts sideways or runs backwards like this, all that's doing, the defence is coming up with him. If he goes forward on that angle, the defence will stop and wait for him to get there, and there's a more chance of a gap being created with a deft pass.
Here's Daly. Broke the first tackle, but couldn't keep his footing. Lomax. Back inside.
It's Troy Peterson and 18 out there. Both teams using plenty of reserves. Just under 15 minutes left in this second quarter. 4 points all. Laurie Daly involved once again. Good ball there to Croker. Croker looking for support, throws the dummy to Meninga. And some cup comes across in the shape of Goddard.
He's done well, Goddard. That's the second try he saved tonight with good cover defence. Well done.
So the Raiders putting some real pressure now on the coast. It's back for Furner. Quick hands out wide through David Lomax, and out wide looked like David Boyle going in to score. So the Raiders score their second try.
Too many players over there for the Raiders, and some good quick hands. Interchange of passing there, and the Gold Coast, too many players on this side of the field. Look, all the space out there for the Gold Coast, not adjusting in defence quickly enough. And a couple of players coming in. Terry Cook came in where possibly he should have stayed out. And look at there, there's 3-4 players out there, and David Boyle laid a hand on him, did the fullback Bouzian, but not good enough.
Yeah, almost a replay of the first try where you've got the forwards involved, the back rowers. Beautiful hands there from Peterson. Eventually Boyle getting outside the last Gold Coast defender. But again, that just emphasises the strength of this Canberra team in moving the football. They can use it in the forwards, link up with their backs. And eventually it was the centre who put the ball over the line.
Speaking to John Harvey before the game, old Harves, I played with him back in '84 at Manly. He was telling me that 80% of the tries last year against the Gold Coast were scored with other sides running around them. And he's worked hard to try and stop it, but already tonight 2 tries, and they've both been scored out wide by running around.
The kick unsuccessful.
The riding was on the board here with Canberra, making a fairly easy pass. A beautiful ball there from Laurie Daly. Got Croker into a gap. He throws the dummy to Meninga. And as Paul pointed out, Goddard did a great job to get across there, not for the first time tonight. But this gave the Gold Coast an opportunity to get set, but the players didn't fan. And the number 18 does particularly well here for Canberra. He took one of the early passes, backs up to take that one there, and Boyle benefited.
Back with the action. Raiders in front. They're just about on their own quarter. 8-4. The Raiders over the Gold Coast. Wesley playing it just outside his own quarter. There's Lomax.
Forward pass ruled there by Lewis. It's a crucial mistake made right in front of their post, only 20 metres out by Canberra. Pretty ordinary pass from Steve Tome. Dead set went forward. And so the Gold Coast now, they'll be in a very good field position to try and put something on.
Coleman works the scrum. Gill picks it up at the scrum base. It's for Coleman, trying to link up with his winger, Bouvang. Defence got to him too quickly.
Well, they put a move on there, the old chestnut from the back of the scrum, but no support for Craig Coleman. He should have had at least maybe a fullback there. The fullback should have been aware of that move.
Well, I think that was actually part of the plan, Paul, to put everybody over the right-hand side so Canberra would think they were going that way. But Furner, especially from the scrum base, he broke quickly and able to round it up fairly easily. And there's the mistake that they cannot afford to keep coming up with. Wayne Bartram just taking his eyes off the ball, all the pressure off in what was a great opportunity for them.
Pressure situations, it's what makes the difference, isn't it, between these two teams. If you can handle pressure in defence or control the football in a pressure situation, you'll probably win more games than you lose.
It's like a bit of a case there. There might be a couple of jobs played in the Winfield Cup again in 12 months. Oh, great ball. That's Mullins. Beautiful pass.
Mullins straight down the touchline, comes to Bouzian, stepped inside him, and he got support too. And look at this, it's the Raiders raiding away. Jimmy Vicoso takes it up to about 8 metres away from the Gold Coast line. Troy Peterson across to Stone. Here's Furner. Got support from Meninga. Back it comes for Boyle. A pass to no one in particular. Stone picks it up. Play just on the Gold Coast quarter. Stone back inside that quarter. Now it's across for Lomax. Dropping it behind him. Picked up by Peterson.
What the Coast were doing well early in this game, they're not now. They're not stopping the football. As Laurie Daly on the 5th tackle kicks for his outside men. Just hung up in time. David Bouvang forced to take it over. So a good kick from Daly means they'll get possession back. But the Gold Coast falling into the trap of allowing the Raiders to get the ball away in tackles. Unfortunately for Bouvang, really just couldn't take the chance of the Chasers not being close enough to score the try. Really had to make a bird of it. And unfortunately, there'll be more defence to be done.
Now the Gold Coast send this down towards the halfway mark. Here's Pongia. Freestone on, Campion off for the Coast. Canberra just about on the Gold Coast quarter. Stone at dummy half. Nowhere to go. Now they're only about 15 metres out from the Gold Coast line. Stone at dummy half. The switch of play for Daly, who coughs it up. And Russell Bouzian almost held as he tried to fall on the loose ball.
A pretty ordinary kick there to Laurie Daly, but with his hands, you'd almost expect him to catch it. But no doubt that there was a move on out wide. He was just going through with what they'd planned before he actually caught the football. He's played well, Daly. He's handled the football on a lot of occasions, getting into first receiver a lot of time, and there you see him in defence, once again strong.
So the Coast on their own quarter, trying to break this Canberra defence. Well drill side, Canberra. Bartram, 30 out. Here's Coleman. Now he's running straight. Goddard went to dummy half. It's for Gill. Now back for Bouzian. Mullins, who seems to be back in the fullback position, maybe gets off for a short time. And the big men bring it up again. Now, 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Here's Osborne.
Again, you see two defenders there both going low on Paul Osborne. They must start wrapping this football up, and that means the first man has probably got to go in fairly high and wrap the football up, then maybe someone low to make sure the man ends up in the ground. But while they're drawing 2 and 3 defenders and getting the ball away, the defence must be in trouble. There's the mistake they needed. Ferner's first mistake of the game.
So the Coast bring it back. Bouzian will play at about 10 short of the halfway mark.
Played well, David Ferner, today. He's very useful forward. He looks like he's bulked up a bit in the off-season, but he still retains that little deft step that he's got, which is a big advantage when they're running amongst the pigs.
Adrian Vowles. Still short of the halfway mark. Coleman linking up with McCarthy. And again, a Gold Coast mistake. Hands over possession to the Raiders.
The start of a big year rugby league. It's players like Daly, Meninga and possibly Ferner playing their first game. Here we are in February the 9th, and it's going to end for them probably sometime in late November after the Kangaroo Tour. So a big hit there, great hit by Tocker.
Now away goes Stone. He's menaced by Freestone. With Daly. Mullins. 35 out from the Gold Coast line. And again, the Gold Coast defence is holding okay. And on the last tackle, the Raiders spin it out for Daly. Can't offload. And has lost possession. So the Coast come up with the football again.
Just got over 5 minutes to try and stop this deficit of 4 points against them. 8-4 on the scoreboard at the moment. They've had to do a lot of defence down there. A little bit leg weary at the moment. Canberra trying to force a mistake here. Craig Coleman continues to scheme and looking to pick up men out wide.
Found Vowles. Adrian Vowles just on the halfway mark now. Coleman's dummy half this time. Picked up Tocco. Out for Herring.
Yeah, good ball there by Tocco, who was held by 2 men, still offloaded, and good second phase play by Herring, who ran onto that pass from Coleman. This is better stuff from the Coast.
McCarthy with the kick through. Mullins, playing fullback, is content to watch the ball just dribble across the line.
Steve Rates, what do you think of Tocco?
Well, I think he's a sensational player. He's only a 21-year-old. He played in under-21s last year. He's got good hitting skill, and we saw there that he had 2 on a tackle and he could offload the football. I'd just like to see the Gold Coast and the forwards mix it up a little bit better. They're just running one out at the moment. Easy targets for the Canberra side.
Scrums have favoured the Coast 4-1. And coming up amongst all of that was Troy Peterson. Just on the Canberra quarter. Pongia. There's about 3.5 minutes remaining in this second quarter.
And there's been a loose ball in there by Canberra. Their ball security hasn't been good. Oh, neither side's been good. It's the heat. The ball's probably a bit slippery and Blakes get tired and they don't concentrate. And here's another chance for the Coast, probably their last before half-time, try and put some points on the board.
Coleman working the scrum for the Coast. And McCarthy. They've linked up with Bouveng, who came inside his opposite man, and David Bouveng will score for the Gold Coast.
Wow.
Great step off his left foot, Paddy.
Oh, great run. He had plenty of work to do, Bouveng. But nice switch of play by the Coast from that scrum. It's the second or third time they've tried it, and they've come up with a try here. McCarthy got involved. It's a good pass by Vowles. Now look at this. He's beaten one, beats another, beat Mullins point blank, and away he goes, Bouveng. So the Gold Coast, big chance to go to the lead here. Kick from right in front. Nice pass here by Vowles. Still one-on-one here, but he had the angle on him, and the big left foot step. He's got plenty of speed too.
Yeah, that was a classy-looking try from David Bouveng.
And Bear, it all came from that little mistake made by Canberra in front of their own pace.
So the Coast had the opportunity to hit the front at the end of the second quarter. Wayne Bartram will try the shot for goal. The way that he kicked the first attempt a little while back, there's no certainty about this. But he kicks it ever so calmly. And hello, the Gold Coast hit the front, 10-8 over the Canberra Raiders.
And now Coleman goes one way. McCarthy comes from the other side. Now, it's still 2-on-2 there, but that's a good, just the step. That's all it was. That's what made the try for the Gold Coast, the step and the speed of David Bouveng.
We've certainly got a game on our hands. Canberra certainly not anxious to get started again. They know there's just a tick over a minute left before they can have a break. All players will be looking forward to the break because it's very, very steamy out there. Energy sapping. Had enough in the commentary box, Fatty.
It certainly is, Bear, and probably if there was one mistake made by Canberra there, you could probably look at the winger, Vicoso, and say that he was in too close to the scrum. He should have possibly been wider. If he's in too close like he was, then he's given Bouveng too much room to move. So probably a slight mistake made there by him. But he's only young and he's inexperienced. He'll learn from that.
So the Coast, with about half a minute left in this quarter, on their own quarter. And the Canberra Raiders on the wrong end of the ledger. Here's Troy McCarthy. He was involved in that try. He came in from the far wing. 5 tackles used up by the Coast. It's back for Coleman. A kick down for Mullins. Mullins surrounded by Gold Coast jumpers. Takes the tackle 30 out from his own line. Vicoso goes into dummy half. Running from there as the siren sounds. And that will end the second quarter. 10-8, the Gold Coast lead Canberra here at Penrith Football Stadium. Back in just a moment.
Are favouring them. Statistically, they haven't been that impressive. You can see there for the Canberra Raiders, much more possession, 53% up against 47. Many more uses with the football, but the bottom one has gone against the Raiders. 9 handling errors to the Gold Coast 4. That's kept the Gold Coast not only in the game, but sees them lead by 2 points. And Paul Vaughton, 4 tries that first half. A couple of good tries from the Raiders, but they've been a marked improvement on what we saw last year, the Coast.
The Gold Coast have played very, very well, you know. Their defence has improved out of sight. Still a bit of a problem with Canberra getting on the outside of them, which John Harvey can work on, but their attack's improved a bit. A few more options there with Craig Coleman.
Well, they did start well, Canberra. They got the first try on the board. I thought Meninga could have scored, but Nagus made a bird of it.
Yes, well, if we remember that Gold Coast had made an error outside their own danger zone, and it was a matter of hands by the Canberra boys. And Nagus, who's played pretty well in the fullback role, he finished it off. Mel probably could have scored, but he's an unselfish bloke.
A little bit of luck, I suppose, for the Gold Coast in scoring their try, but I have to apologise to the referee, Mick Lewis. I thought it was a knock-on, but from that view, he made the right decision.
He did. He's gone pretty well, Mick Lewis, in his first grade debut, and that was dead set knocked out by a Canberra player, and good work by the Coast. I mean, last year they may not have scored that try, but they're on the ball tonight and they're getting players in the right position.
The back row for Canberra have been very impressive. We mentioned David Furner involved here once again. Quick hands from Peterson, but the ability of Canberra to be able to link their backs with their forwards has been very good once again.
Yeah, all the back row have played well. I think Furner's having a great game tonight, and he's set for a big year. I think it'll finish with a kangaroo tour spot for him. But once again, you see where it scored. It was out wide by the Canberra boys, and David Boyle, who also has had a good game, as he finished it off pretty well. And here we are. The last try here by the Gold Coast. I think the Canberra winger possibly made a mistake by staying in too close to the scrum. He gave Bouvang a lot of room to move, and Bouvang showed a good turn of foot and a nice step. Reminds me of your own, Sterlo, in your heyday back in 75, eh?
You've got a good memory, Paul. We've talked a lot about the improvement of the Gold Coast. What have you made of the Canberra performance today?
Well, Canberra won this competition last year, so it's not as if they're slow starters. They've gone pretty well. I mean, Daly's been content so far just to pass and kick. I think when he starts running, we'll see a lot better Canberra side.
Well, I don't think many people gave the Gold Coast a chance in this game. They lead 10 points to 8 at half-time, so a big second half coming up. And plenty of sport happening once again this weekend. And, of course, the wide world of sports returns this Saturday at 1 p.m. Any sport happening in the world, you'll see this weekend.
Yes, Steve Walters is all right. He'll be back. He's just got a little bit of concussion. It was just a bit of putting your knees in the wrong place.
Good on your block, thank you. Gold Coast in possession, and then they lead by 10 points to 8 over the Canberra Raiders. Now, just inside their quarter. Really, they have been a surprise packet tonight, the Gold Coast. Defence on most of the occasions has been pretty good. Unfortunately for them, handling errors costing them possession at vital times. However, they're still able to come up with a 2-point lead as we into this third quarter.
Just one statistic I didn't make mention of there at half-time was the fact that Canberra have been able to break the line on a few more occasions than the Gold Coast. That is going to put a lot of pressure on both Craig Coleman and Peter Gill to be able to come up with the kind of passes we saw in that first half from Daly, Meninga, Furner, Croker.
David Lomax up the middle for the Raiders, just inside the Gold Coast territory. It's John Lomax slipping. Managed to get the pass away, however. Now it's Pongia. Croker. And Meninga sending Bouzian back for it. Mullins coming in over the top.
He did well there, Russell Bouzian. Only a youngster. I remember watching him in the Commonwealth Bank Cup playing for Toowoomba High School. The year that they got beaten, I think, a point by Fairfield Patrician Brothers. And he's one player that's kicked on, gone into grade, and looking to cement that fullback spot at the Gold Coast. It was Dale Shearer. He'll be back in action shortly, so he's got a big job, but he's played quite well out there tonight, been fairly steady.
I've got a feeling Dale Shearer might be playing centre this year for the Coast. I believe that's his best position. So it is a big opportunity for Bouzian to really grab hold of this spot. I know that Vowles and Cook are both fair centres for the Coast, but I believe that the Shearer's best position is that particular spot.
Why is that, Paul? What the attributes to the centre that you like?
I know him very well. I just know back at fullback, he's got too much time to himself, and he can mess up. You know, he's been in the centres. No, it's fair.
Glad you know him well.
Yeah, and in the centres, he's just straight on the ball and hitting those gaps.
Okay, the Raiders, up and down they go, 30 metres out from their own line. They trail by 2. Osborne brings it up.
I mean, Shearer back at fullback, I mean, he's a sort of like, he's likely to chip kick one day before he gets to the opposition and regather, just to show he can do it. Canberra have made a mistake here, so Gold Coast, they're bustling Canberra with their defence, and their defence is very, very good.
Yeah, well, Craig Coleman here appealing that it wasn't a Gold Coast hand, that was a knock, forced to knock on. The referee disagreeing, so Steve Stone will feed the scrum.
And who's got it at the scrum base? It's Croker who had it. Pongia over the halfway mark. Here comes Osborne. Defence is equal to him. Now Walters, who was knocked out earlier in the game, is back and taking it up as strongly as ever. Here's Daly out for Croker. Croker got a ball away, which was not taken, and the Gold Coast come up with it by a tugger.
Well, it was a timely hand too from Craig Coleman. It looked as though they'd got a pass away to a man on the fly, but fortunately for the Gold Coast, Coleman was able to force an intercept, and that'll be
hang on,
be a penalty.
Turn it up. I mean, there was a Canberra hand, and I'm sure of that, and it looked as though Lewis was watching that. There's the hand there.
Yeah, but he still hung on of it there. Then he lost it.
Yeah, it's a penalty.
Got to be a penalty there. No hand is allowed anywhere near that football, so they've been hard done by, Coast.
It'd be tough to play under.
I'm going to take that green shirt off too then.
Okay, the Raiders get the feed, rightly or wrongly, they get it. And they're going to get a penalty as well.
Well, the number 24, Brett Horsman, being penalised here. I thought he was still bound in the scrum and
I'm sure he was.
Had every right to strike for that ball. The scrum had screwed around.
He's just had a fair lash at this, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's entitled to.
Let's have a quick look at it now. You can see there he's, sort of half bound.
Yeah, he was holding on to the bottom of his shorts.
Osborne's given it away to Walters. While you fellas are arguing about who was right and who was wrong, the Raiders are running to score.
Great work there from the big man, Paul Osborne, who's done plenty out there in this particular game. 12-10 in favour of Canberra. You see the try here, and he's allowed to get his arms free. Big gap there. The number 10 did poorly for the Gold Coast. That was Kevin Campion. And Steve Walters, backing up like all good hookers, takes advantage of the good ball skills of the front rower.
Yes, they had plenty of defence there, the Gold Coast, plenty of numbers. Just the sheer good play by Osborne. Big fellow, and he's always hard to bring down. He always takes a couple when he gets on a roll, and a missed tackle there, I think it was, by Horsnell.
Yeah, the little dummy inside put the defence at 6s and 7s as well. I thought Campion failed to move up. A little bit of a hole there. Osborne went through, and Mal having his first kick for goal won't get them any easier.
From right in front. Meninga, no problem. So the Raiders regain the lead at 14-10. And 14 minutes left in this, the third quarter. So whether the Raiders were rightly or wrongly given the football back there, they still scored the try. So we'll read about it tomorrow, Fatty. Keep winning it. Now it's down right on the Canberra line. Jimmy Vicoso. Walters a dummy half. Here's Lomax. Walters again. This time it's Pongia. And again Walters. Pass knocked down by the Coast.
He's the best dummy half runner in the land at the moment, Steve Walters. He's got that little bit of pace off the mark, but he's a very powerful runner. And inevitably, whenever he does get to the line, something is created because he can pop a good ball as well.
Stone working the scrum for the Raiders. Taylor appealing about something or other. Croker just short of the halfway mark. Oh, Lomax hit hard. Good tackle.
Brett Horsnell there, number 24 for the Gold Coast. You see him in behind the ruck area. Came up with a beauty front on. Perfect tackle. Able to pick the man up and drive him back. The ball came loose.
Oh, a tackle like that. Great hit. So the Coast have it. 40 out from the Canberra line.
Kind of defence very important to a team too. It really inspires the players around. The Gold Coast will get another penalty here. Quentin Pongia not getting off the man as quickly as the referee would have liked. Bit of a swinging arm there too. So a couple of sets of 6 in a row here for the Gold Coast, and they should find touch. Well, in fact, they're going to kick for goal to try and get within 2 points of Canberra. And Paul, you were giving their no rap on their goal kicking.
Oh, Bartram put his over. He's the #1 kicker in the club at the moment. So this one's 30 metres out right in front. I've seen him, he kicked 5 out of 6 one night last year. We covered a game, but I've also seen him miss him from 10 metres right out in front. So it's quite luck.
There's Mal Meninga taking the option that is open to the captain. Just questioning the referee on one of the decisions. I'd imagine it would have been back towards the tackle on Quentin Pongia executed on the Gold Coast player to give them this opportunity to kick for goal.
A very important kick, this one, for the Gold Coast. Can get them within 2.
And most importantly, if he does miss the goal, it must go dead.
Well, he has missed it, but it has gone dead, so he got it half right. No change to that score. 14-10. The Raiders over the Gold Coast. And it's down for Gill. Oh, Gill has knocked it on. Made a desperate attempt to regather, but he's made the error.
I was talking earlier about getting kicks on the full. Maybe that occasion, because it was such a difficult one, he'd have been better off allowing it to bounce or using his feet. You'd have taken it, Fatty.
Just one-handed, probably.
And one against the feet here for the Gold Coast.
Yeah, Tugger spotted that coming out the back of the scrum, and he was on it.
Now here comes Bartram. Straight up the middle. That's a fine run from Wayne Bartram. 35 out now from the Raiders line. And the Coast start to come alive, although they've coughed it up again. So the Raiders come up with possession. Here's Croker. Nagus in there at dummy half this time. And that's another fine hit from Brett Horsnell. Gee. Osborne.
Well, Horsnell's on a mission out there. That's the second big hit in a matter of minutes. And he's got the good build for a big hitter, because he comes in and drives in from low, comes up from the ground, a la Trevor Gilmeister.
Now here's Laurie Daly. Good grubber. Picked up though by Bouzian. Bouzian's got some room to move. He's 32 out, but that's where it stops. The defence gets to him there, but that was a great run from the Gold Coast fullback.
We've got poleaxed there by David Boyle, the centre for Canberra, but the Gold Coast continue on. Scarden unfortunately slips.
That's a time for the Coast to get their line set and capitalise on the situation, but they've got nothing doing here at the moment. That's where they should have a line set out right now, and they should be able to spin it.
Campion got a pass away. It wasn't a great one. Bartram was able to fall on it. And here's Tocco inside the quarter. Here's Tugger. And Scarden. A little kick ahead. The ball is still alive. This could be a try.
It will be.
The Gold Coast hit back. It's John Scarden who scored.
I thought that was an ordinary kick there at the beginning from Scarden, but Brett Mullins came up with the mistake. The ball just popped loose. The Gold Coast chasers were able to come up with the ball to make it 14 all. Scoring 10 metres in from touch. Let's have a look at the little kick, the left foot one. You can see Mullins is already back there waiting for exactly that. He goes down and the ball pops out. And it's an easy job for Adrian Bowles to pick up and score.
I think the key player here is this tackle by Scarden. I thought he had just about had control of the ball there, but Scarden with the big tackle over the top popped it loose again, and Voles on the spot there. So the Coast live again. Adrian Voles had a big game, some big defence on Meninga a couple of times. He's been pretty heavily involved. He's a fairly impressive player.
Steve Roach sideline.
Yeah, let's not forget the big hits from Brett Horsnell. They're the sort of things that inspire a team and set up that sort of play. He started the game on the bench tonight. I think he's out to show a big one, so he'll be in the starting lineup next time.
Certainly, he's made some great hits. Now, this kick is about 3 metres in from touch. Perfect view of it right there.
What price, Stella?
Hey, I got your money at Riverside Oaks today, so you can have whatever price you want.
Yeah. Should play with their eyes open next time.
Well, it's swinging around, but nowhere near enough. So 14 apiece, Canberra and the Gold Coast, and there's about 6 minutes of this quarter remaining.
I'd imagine.
No, it's called the comfort zone. What happens is it fans and also sprays out a bit of water to cool down the players. It's the first time it's been used in Australia. The Australian Rugby Union side used it on their trip to America and Canada.
They send one up here, Block?
A big pardon?
Can they send one up here?
I want one here. This one of my size is not working yet.
Now here's the Coast. After equalising, they have it about, well, almost 30 metres out from their own line. Probing out wide, but the Canberra defence moving across, covering no problem. Here's Cook. Last tackle now for the Coast.
It was an intelligent run there from Terry Cook. He took the ball back to the middle of the field knowing it was the last tackle to give his kickers a better option, even though Voles hasn't done a particularly good job. He's found Nagus on the full. You really want to be in the centre of the field to kick so that the options are much more than being hemmed close to the sideline.
Now Canberra bring it back. With 4.5 left in this quarter. Here's Furner. Walters spots that little gap and makes just about 10 metres again. Canberra continue to bring this football up hard. This is Wesley. Last tackle now for the Raiders. Meninga uncharacteristically loses the football.
Even the greats can come up with the simple mistake. And the reason that he did was why anybody will drop the ball. Just took his eyes off it. His last tackle, he knew he had to kick the football. Ray Herring makes 5 or 6 metres before being backslammed by Croker.
In there again, dictating the play as Bartram runs off his pass. Just inside the Canberra half. Scarden selects Cook. Daly is up there quickly. With Boyle. Boyle again to make the tackle. Here's Bouzian. Bouzian got out of one. Vicoso tried to pick it up for the Raiders, and it's been picked up by Scarden, but they'll play the knock-on.
Oh, bad luck for the case there. Nice little run by Bouzian. He feigned a kick, found a gap and went for it. Not bad on the 5th tackle. Look, he steps inside Furner there, and up he goes the middle, and then the nice little kick, the option at the end, and they come up with the case, but Cook couldn't control the football, but they're playing some good footy.
Just before that piece of action, you saw Mick Lewis talk to the touch judge to find out what had happened there at the close of play to see who was going to feed that scrum. It went Canberra's way. A little bit of innovation there from the fullback, Russell Bouzian. Looked dangerous.
Now here's David Lomax. Croker. For Furner. No way through there.
Well, I know that you can be a little bit wary of rule changes and that, but I'm a fan of this new rule that they've brought in as a good ball to Finau down the sideline, and he's done a great job to beat 3 and 4 defenders and get a pass away to link up with Walters. And turn links up with, is that Croker or Boyle? That's Boyle on the Boyle.
Well, there should have been a penalty there because Nagus back on the inside was held back by a Gold Coast player. So that's an opportunity where the Larry linesman, Martin Weeks, could have maybe intervened with that microphone. We're in his shoe or something, is it?
Somewhere there.
Thanks, Max.
There's a good break made here, and David Boyle puts the pace on, gets through the gap. Now, what's Nagus on the inside? He gets held back there by Terry Cook.
I was just talking about that rule earlier. There's another big hit there, this time from John Lomax, with the penalties and the scrums now 20 metres in from the sideline. The Canberra coach, Tim Sheens, introduced that or raised the issue with the Rugby League. It really does give an opportunity to attack from those areas more so than just that 10 metres.
I'm not a fan of too many rule changes in this great game we've got here, but that one's a good one. It'll give sides a lot of options, and it'll open the game up. It's very good work by Tim Sheens, and well done by the Australian Rugby League to go on with it.
Here's Daly. Haven't seen Daly really run tonight. He's been content to kick and pass. A little half break there. Now here's Walters again, dumbing twice before the big steam train. Mal Meninga bursts onto the football, and in he goes, the big man.
Well, good work there from Steve Walters once again, but poor reading in defence. I think you'll find it was Jamie Goddard, the 11, who was caught out by the Gold Coast. We talked about the angles earlier tonight. When the defence gets a bit tired, it means someone will get lazy. Walters went across, set two runners inside and eventually gave it to the third. The defence was just put out. You see they haven't gone across. Ray Herring was slow to go across. It was probably his fault more than anybody else. And Meninga just too much pace and right on three-quarter time.
He's done it all before, Mel, hasn't he? Look at him go. More chance of stopping the fair star. Busian. Well done, Mel, and good work by Steve Walters. I know last year, Stiller, you and I copped some because we criticised Mel. He started off a bit slow, but he started pretty well tonight, and that just goes to show that he's in for a big year.
Now, here's David Ferner, as you've heard the third quarter siren sound. Yet to kick one tonight. Let's see what he can do with this one. Scored about 7 or 8 in from the sideline, and this is going to be way to the left, so no luck for him. We go to the third quarter break with the score 18-14, Canberra over the Gold Coast. Back in just a moment. Get underway in this fourth quarter. Steve Roach has been in the Gold Coast huddle block.
Yeah, John Harvey had some interesting things to say. He said, look, when Steve Walters runs from dummy half across the field, let him run into the grandstand. Make sure you keep your line in defence. That was the try. One person didn't come up in the line, and Mal Meninga went through the gap. He said, look, when we've got them down there in their own half on their line, we're worrying the hell out of them. He said, but when they're in our half, he said, you're worrying the hell out of me.
Good on you, Block, thanks. Here's the Gold Coast with the football. And on the 6th, sending it back for the Raiders to bring back. Raiders lead by 4 points, 18-14. Now here's Finau. Just about on the halfway mark, 18-14. The Raiders lead the Gold Coast. Osborne turning it back for Ferner. Stone is at dummy half. Dickerson is out there. Daly, quick hands to Croker. Croker will play it 30 metres out. Daly down the blind side. Quick hands from the Raiders. It's come out to Finau. Now Peterson over the touchline. And this will be a turnover. Gold Coast now.
With 18 minutes to go in this game, they're well in this match, the Gold Coast. They trail by 4. Need to just play intelligent football down this end of the field, get a good kick, a good chase, try and force a mistake, and really throw some options at this Canberra defence. Got plenty of bodies in motion. They need to score a converter, try to get away with this game, so they've got to be a little bit adventurous in the right area of the field.
This pass, not a great one, picked up by Patterson. So short of the halfway mark, the Gold Coast. Troy McCarthy out there. And Vowles will play it just inside the Canberra half. Coleman has his head bandaged for this quarter.
I don't think it's to keep the hair out of his eyes, that's for sure. Must have a slight cut on his melon somewhere. He's gone pretty well tonight, Tugger. He's settling into his new club. Pretty strong stuff there by Finau. He's fended off a couple of would-bes, but Tugger's gone fairly well. He hasn't got a long kicking game, which is something the Coast might suffer from. I know that Vowles has done a couple of kicks. They're not so long either, but he's got a good kicking game as far as putting in just behind the line is concerned. A mistake here by Canberra, by Croker, a ball he probably should have choked on, and he's dropped it.
Well, in plenty of areas, this really is where Craig Coleman has to rise to the occasion and let the experience come out. It's just a simple pass, went to ground there by Jason Croker. With his experience, his guile, and really his leadership, just keeping the players from panicking, letting them know that they are in this game if they don't give away silly mistakes and penalties and don't allow soft tries, as I believe the last two have been from Osborne and Meninga.
Good scoring opportunity here for the Gold Coast. With the play 30 metres out, they've used up only one tackle. Here's Peter Gill. Herring is at dummy half. And very nearly coughing the football up was Robert Tocco. Pulled it back in though, right on the quarter line now. Here's Coleman. Short ball for Goddard. Goddard 12 metres out from the Canberra line. Coleman working the same way from McCarthy. Back inside goes Freestone. And the pass from Freestone very close to the ground. Coleman's gone back for it. Back for Terry Cook now. Cook gets to the 10-metre mark, and they've used up 5, the Coast.
Well, they've got numbers to the right if they're prepared to throw it. Herring tries to do it himself. Nearly does so. Terry Cook chasing well there, but they really did have a 3-man overlap. Fortunately, they'll get the ball back. Touched last by a Canberra player.
Yes, Herring on that occasion either didn't have a call from his outside man or didn't read the play, but as Sturlo said, a big overlap to the right. Could have been a try on, but the next best thing for the Coast is Mullins seems to be troubled with he's got a leg injury, possibly a hamstring twinge, and he's down getting treatment. But the Coast will get the ball back here, and another 6 goes at the Canberra defence.
Right down to almost the halfway mark is the kick. Peter Gill catches it okay this time and brings it back about 25 or so out from the Raiders line. Boosie in a dummy half. Caught though by David Furner. And now Croker comes up with the tackle on Goddard. Bartram will play it. There's 12 out. And Adrian Vowles, but the referee's spotted a little forward pass in there.
It's a shame too, the Gold Coast there putting on a set of plays, obviously 2 or 3 tackles involved in it, getting 3 and 4 men in motion around the dummy half area and then picking out the man who they believe could make the bust. The final pass there to Adrian Vowles, just going forward.
Yeah, here's Laurie Daly. Some room for him to move. He's over the quarter line now, Daly. Looks for the support. Couldn't get the pass in. The kick is the next best thing. And it's a race for the ball. Boozian gets there first for the Coast, but Kenny Nagus was chasing that ball through at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, well done by Boozian. Daly made a good bust by him. Good to see him running. He's a lovely player when he's in action. Got those legs striding out. Put the kick in and away by Daly. Got around McCarthy all pretty well. And Nagus back on the inside. Boozian did well here to come up, then turn and chase. So good work by him.
Play back just on the halfway mark as the Coast bring it up once again. Campion. Here's Coleman again. Now McCarthy. McCarthy kicking for Patterson. But I think it was Vacoso got in there first for the Raiders. Now Nagus. strong running below this Peterson. He's impressive, I thought, on occasions in the sevens, and he's looked okay out there tonight when he's been on. Here's Daly. Furner. Who wants it? I'll have it. It's mine. Now it's yours.
A mix-up there between Steve Stone and Laurie Daly. The ball popped back inside. They both went for the same ball. The referee has found a knock-on in there. You can see Daly reacts at the exact same time as his halfback did. So the Gold Coast 40 metres out centre field, almost. Good time to put something on. They go to their back line. That's fairly pedestrian stuff from the scrum. I think they're great attacking opportunities, but Bowes just really an easy mark for the defence.
Now Terry Cook trying to thread his way up the middle.
Brett Mullins on the sideline getting treatment for a corked thigh.
Coleman got a beautiful pass away for Jamie Goddard, but again, it's gone astray. Coleman did the good work.
Well, they've done well. They've made the bust, and a try was on, but inexperienced by young Goddard, who tried to get away a miracle ball. And lovely pass. Look at Goddard into some space. Tries to unleash the one-handed, left-handed, round the corner pass.
With the reverse pike and twist.
With one of those as well, and Canberra come up with the ball. Now, a mistake by them. So it's been a game. It's been a pretty good game, but it's been one riddled with handling errors.
The scrum is on the 30-metre mark, 30 out from the Canberra line. And the Coast working it. Coleman playing out at 5'8" at the moment. As the Coast get inside the Canberra quarter. Goddard.
See, that's a wasted tackle. We're 18 metres out. Canberra, if they'd been in the same position, would have had 3 and 4 attacking players involved. There's another settler, basically, from Steve Weston, his first appearance in the game. So not a lot of pressure put on the defence here. It is the last. They've got to get the ball back or put the bomb up to try and score the try.
Bartram with the kick.
They've done neither.
And the big man brings it back for the Raiders. Daly makes a couple of metres. Very bunched, Canberra, aren't they? There's some of the replacements that have gone on. Herring, Campion's on there for Tocco. Now the Raiders bring it up to the quarter again. Walters at dummy half. Again, he runs from there. Then got the pass away for Furner. Pirouettes and gets out of one tackle.
Been the two best players, I feel, Walters and Furner tonight. They've been involved in everything. Walters had a couple of breaks off the field with a bad knock he got, but everything they've done has stemmed from his running from dummy half.
It's back with Boozy in again, back in his own territory after that kick from Daly. 18-14, the Raiders over the Coast. And there's about just under 10 remaining in the fourth and final quarter. Away goes Gill. Coleman kicking out there for Patterson. But Daly's first man there for the Raiders and will be forced to take the tackle. Cooling, refreshing. Sounds like a commercial, doesn't it? Now the Raiders bring it back.
Oh, gee, that was a good tackle there by Patterson, because Nagus was just about away and kept at him. Did Patterson, young Banjo, or was it Scarden? I think it's Scarden, actually, the 5'8". Makes the good tackle.
Raiders 10 out from the halfway mark, and they've given up possession again. But hopefully we'll bring it back.
The Raiders are giving the Gold Coast some opportunities down here. In the last 10 minutes, we've seen 3 or 4 mistakes, and fairly simple mistakes made by the Raiders. They really should have just been looking to settle things down and get a good kick at the end of it. The Gold Coast now 40 metres out. Steve Weston can't beat the tackle of Quentin Pongia. That's number 1.
Patterson at dummy half, the run around with him. back a metre or two. Bartram, now it's for Coleman. And then comes Adrian Vowles up to the quarter line, floats one out there for David Bouvang. The ball in the in-goal area, but the Raiders are able to get back to it with Lomax. A wonderful attacking position here. Straight across field goes Daly, looks for Mullins. Mullins beats one, beats two, stands, offloads to the centre three-quarter Boyle. Boyle is pulled down only 5 metres out from the Gold Coast line. Here's Daly again. Away it goes for Stone. Stone steps off his right. He's still 5 metres short of the line. And again, from dummy half, they're pulled down only a metre short. Peterson. Across it comes. And a number of players go down. It looked like Croker it was. Here's Walters. Walters turns it away for Stone. Stone, one-handed pass back to Finau. Finau will score. Did he bounce the ball?
He's dropped it.
No try.
Yeah, good defence there. Nice interplay by the Raiders. We see a quick start here from Craig Coleman for the Gold Coast. Nagus there, just can't get the ball down. No downward pressure. Good decision. He's had a good game, Mick Lewis.
He has for his first effort.
There's no doubt about that. It came out.
$18 to 14. Only about 3.5 left. The Coast have it 10 metres short of halfway. Here's Gill. Back for Coleman. And Coleman got it across for Weston. Unfortunately for Steve Weston, he put it down. So this scrum will go down 5 metres short of halfway as replacement's going on for the Canberra side.
And it looks as though with just under 3 minutes to go, Canberra might sneak away with a win here. It hasn't been overly impressive. I'm not taking anything away from the Gold Coast performance. I'm sure that Tim Sheens will be concerned with the amount of handling errors. It is really the Canberra's first hit out as Mal Meninga straight through, looking for support, comes in the shape of Finau. Good tackle there and cover from Steve Weston.
So Meninga at dummy half just on the quarter line, across for Stone. Back it comes for Wesley. Centre field just outside the quarter. Walters trying to put this away. Walters. May have been knocked down by the Coast. No, it wasn't. Here's Vicoso. Vicoso playing the ball forward, threads his way through, tried to get a one-handed pass away to Walters, but it's rolled forward.
Trying to do a little bit too much here, Jimmy Vicoso. Played the ball forward. Steve Walters backing up. Ball just popped forward and no doubt it went forward. But Steve Walters, as all the good players do, played the whistle. It looks a little bit worse for wear. Took a pretty bad knock early on.
Now here's the Coast with Weston. Just on the quarter. Peter Gill. Stood there for what seemed an eternity before he was able to offload.
Well, they've got just over a minute here, Ian, so they really have to take these. Check. Great ball to Steve Weston. Chips over the top. It'll be a penalty against Nagus. They'll have to get the ball as quick as they can. You don't want to be lying there. Got to get play going as soon as they can. This is all time being wasted. Good work from the Gold Coast. Urgency in their play. The little kick, Nagus deliberately getting in front of Weston. Moved to do so, and that was the dead giveaway. So they're going to have one set of 6 at the Raiders in their own 20-metre area, trailing by 4.
Now here's the Raiders coming up to within 10 or 11 from the Canberra line. Coleman putting it high in the air. Up they go for it. Who has it? And it's Jimmy Vicoso who comes up with it for the Raiders. Vicoso is finally pulled down about 35 out. And, well, he seems to be a bit winded. He jumped up for that and made the good run. As the full-time siren sounds, the referee blows full-time, and it is a win to the Canberra Raiders over the Gold Coast, 18-14.
Narrow escape for the Canberra Raiders, 18 points to 14, winners over the Gold Coast. Very much an improved performance from the coast from what we saw last year. So John Harvey's done some good things in the off-season. Canberra keeping their hopes alive. They did win the competition, the Tooheys Championship, early last year, hoping to do the same to kick off the 94 season. A couple of great games coming up in our next matches. Friday night from the ANZ Stadium, a local derby between North Sydney and Manly. Manly, again, a great start for them, winning the Coca-Cola Sevens on the weekend. And Brisbane, the reigning Winfield Cup premiers, up against Canterbury. Many people expect Canterbury to be the biggest obstacle if Brisbane are to make it 3 in a row. So something to look forward to at the ANZ Stadium on Friday night. We've had great delight in bringing you tonight's games from the Penrith Football Stadium. And until we see you on Friday night in Brisbane, it's goodbye for now.